for being a proud Jew and a Zionist 6 years ago and very publicly.
I'm the fucking victim here. I am. Why can I not say that I am the victim? Fat low, me. I cannot deal with it. Speaking of people that are very upset, I wanted to talk about Kneecap. As you guys know, I went and I live streamed the Kneecap Coachella, the Kneecap Coachella performance. And in that performance, they obviously had a bunch of slides. One of which said, one of the slides said, Israel, free Palestine. And everyone has now that it went viral on Twitter, all of the pro-Israel accounts have been freaking out over this in what I suspect is the funniest way to get mad about anything. While these guys are while Israel is straight up massacring Palestinians every fucking day, okay, doing a genocide, continuing to do their genocide with unlimited support from the United States of America, these guys are now very, very mad. Stop anti-Semitism is like contact Golden Voice. It's too late. They already fucking live streamed it on my live stream. You know, I can't believe it. I can't believe that they said free Palestine and Israel. How dare they? But the reason why I think it's kind of funny, and I know they don't give a shit about this at all, and they welcome this kind of retaliation, not dissimilar to myself, was people bringing up the Nova Festival. I said earlier the frontman of Disturbed was coming at you and Kneecap on IG. Yeah, the frontman of Disturbed is a massive Zionist. They've been losing their minds at me, and I got them defending Bono, Lamau. Kneecap doing more for Ireland and standing up for something in a year than Bono has done his whole career. They got the same type of hate for when they came out with Brits Out. They don't mean the people, just the British. Sorry. You guys brought up Disturbed. That's how I clear my throat. Yeah, you can't even say Israel anymore, okay? You can't say Israel anymore, but you certainly can't say Israel in a festival setting. Why can't you say Israel in a festival setting? Because October 7 happened and Nova Festival happened. So, in my opinion, it's one of the funniest ways to be like, how dare you criticize Israel in a festival setting when October 7 happened? Okay? That's insane. That is an insane way to frame this conversation and to try to personally victimize yourself. Here's Elon Levy, of course. This was my favorite one. Israel at a music festival after the Nova massacre is like America at a World Trade Conference after 9/11. First of all, who would ever do such a thing? Who would ever say such a thing? I mean, that's crazy. You forgot the rest. Israel, free Palestine. The Disturbed lead singer's post on Instagram. I didn't know. What is this? Fixed it for you at Kneecap, at Hasan D. Piker, at Coachella. Come on, free Palestine is a human rights scam being fed to you by radical Islamists who openly call for the death of all Jews and non-Muslims. I doubt you'd be applauding like sheep if this were the Noah Music Festival and you were slaughtered like sheep. Oh, I love this guy. He is so insane. Soy right with leftist meme lengths. I know. They're even memeing like leftists now. So I like the idea that the festival settings are now eliminated. Okay, no more saying mean things about Israel in a festival setting. Okay, because October 7 happened. Like that's you can't do that. You just simply can't do that. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to say Israel in any setting. As a matter of fact, okay. I'll have you know, October 7 happened. You are not allowed to say Israel. What are you talking about? You are not allowed to say that Israel is doing it because October 7 happened. It's just like, dog, Israel has done multiple October 7s every week. Okay? Shut the cup. Shut the cup. Nobody, and I mean nobody, gives a about this kind of crying, I think, especially at this stage. Yeah. America killed 1 million people right after 9/11, and none of them had anything to do with it. Yeah. I'm not typically a chatter in here, but I've been watching you for a while on YouTube. I wanted to say thank you. I used to be down the alt-right pipeline, and your videos and streams steadily helped me get out of a lot of alt-right spaces. Hell yeah, chatter. But anyway, they're big mad about this. And I always love when the Hasbro accounts get their notes from something. And I don't know if there's like a Telegram channel or something, but like they literally will all post the exact same shit at the exact same time and will start crying about it at the same exact time. And half the time it's something that just like most people agree with, that they're posting and freaking out over, which I always find to be really funny. I always find that really funny because everyone else looks at these guys like hysterically freaking out over someone saying Israel and free Palestine, and you just kind of look like a loser. You look like a sweaty ass loser. Useless maggots. I'll be working to make sure that you are banned from the USA. You useless bleep. If I see you first, you'll get a ball peen hammer in the head for supporting Islam. Hello, Nazis. May you in hell. Anti-Semitic scum. Your anti-Semitism will have consequences, dire ones. Mark my words. This is not a threat. It's a promise. Your career is all but over. Palestine. I'd love nothing more for you all to die in a house fire. Fuck Palestine, you Nazi cunts. Ay, ay, ay. What the fuck is this? These are the lads getting attacked mercilessly. These are the lads getting attacked mercilessly for saying correct things like fuck Israel and free Palestine. Yeah. I will say after a entire year and a half, after an entire year and a half of just like exhaustive live streamed child murder, unlimited child murder, I don't think anybody gives a fuck about this. Like, you can cry about it all day, every day. I mean, keep crying, but your tears mean nothing because we see you cheering for unlimited child murder. So, boo-hoo, okay? Go take it up with the government that you choose to defend. They're supposed to come back to the U.S. for a tour in the fall. Think they're going to get denied entry for shit like this? There's a high likelihood, for sure. On the positive side, the church my parents attend acknowledged the genocide in Palestine during Easter service. Things are different now. Exactly. Toothpaste out of the tube, man. Cat's out of the box. You can't do shit. You can just cry all day. And as I've said, as I've warned over and over again, the more these guys lose their grip, the more people who want to be pro-Israel on the timeline lose control over the conversation, the more people are aware of the depraved ways in which they are defending Israel's genocide, the more aggressive they will get. But it's over. Oh, Fatlaw had a statement about Kneecap. Is Fatlaw? Oh no! What the hell?
I just want to say this about the Coachella situation.
Am I lying when I say that's what she sounds like? They're calling me Eve Shatlow on the timeline. Racism. We need to... I can't deal with the racism. Eve Shatlow. The classic Middle Eastern accent, famously known in the Levant. You will recognize this as a classic Menoresian accent.
Leaders, especially Jewish leaders in the music industry, you know, I personally feel like I have been screaming fire inside a burning building for the last 6 years. I'm not going to sit here and ask today why, when I was publicly shamed and very publicly vilified for being a proud Jew and a Zionist 6 years ago, and very publicly...
I'm the fucking victim here. I am. Why can I not say that I am the victim? Fatlaw, me. I cannot deal with it. A proud Jew and more importantly, a proud Zionist. Look at my regional accent.
Blacklisted, very publicly chased on social media My hate name trended at number.
My hate name. She's talking about Eve Fartlow. Dude, she said my hate name. She's talking about Eve Fartlow. She calls it her hate name. Oh, it's so cool.
2 worldwide on the day I was cancelled from my profession after 15 years at the apex of music and film journalism as a very popular music and film journalist. I'm not going to ask today why nobody came out in defense of me, why nobody in a position of leadership and power said that this was wrong.
Yeah. Calling me Eve Fartlow is a reminder. It's just like a pogrom. Why the hell is this allowed? Why can't I go out and get every person fired for calling me Eve Fartlow? It's night of the long knives, you say?
What I'm going to ask of you today, however, is to notice how it went from one female, Jewish, proud, truth-saying music journalist pointing out
yeah, I remember when Seth Rogen, my latest fit, tablet mag, a social media pogrom, and then Seth Rogen replied with fart emoji. Oh, that was awesome. And then Dov Hicken, Seth, how pathetic are you? How desperate are you to be liked by Jew haters that you're trolling a Jew on their behalf? How shall I say this in words you'll comprehend? You're a shanda, but you can come pick on me if it'll keep your creepiness away from Jewish women. Seth Rogen is pro-Palestine? Yeah, you guys didn't know? Seth Rogen has like so many statements about how creepy the pro-Israel crowd is in general. Of course, the free speech advocate gave a platform to the anti-Semites, Kneecap, who've also been accused of sexual assault prior to their fame. How fitting. Immediately also hitting the sexual assault button. Stereo Gum wrote about this. This is sick. I like it. Is Seth Rogen a HasanAbi head? No. And I can't reply. I can't reply with the fart emoji to her because unfortunately she blocked me a very long time ago. Eve Fartlow blocked me a very long time ago. Hasan Piker helps Kneecap live stream Palestine amid message amid Coachella censorship. Kneecap have been vocal about their support for Palestine during the ongoing Israeli genocide to the point that they faced censorship several times. This included last Friday at Coachella when their Free Palestine Jumbotron message and chants were omitted from American live streams. Last night, April 18th, the Northern Irish rap trio, Irish from the north of Ireland, not Northern Ireland, leftist social media personality Hasan Piker was advocating for Palestine during the second performance of the festival. After offering his help on X last weekend, Piker joined the group on stage for weekend 2 and live streamed the set via his Twitch channel. The screen behind the group read, Israel's committing a genocide against the Palestinian people. It is being enabled by the U.S. government who arm and fund Israel despite their war crimes. Fuck Israel, free Palestine. DJ Prove helped up a Palestinian flag. Watch Piker's live stream here and see the footage below. Hell yeah. Yeah. But for those of you who are wondering about Seth Rogen, yeah, here, this is an old article from 2020. Seth Rogen, I was fed a huge amount of lies about Israel. Actor says when he was younger, he wasn't told Palestinians lived on land that became the Jewish state. He has, yeah, oh, this was on Mark Maron's podcast, actually. As a Jewish person, I was fed a huge amount of lies about Israel my entire life. Rogen told the comedian and actor Mark Maron in an episode of the WTF podcast. What the fuck, buddies? What the fucking ears? They never tell you that. Oh, by the way, there were people there. They make it seem like it was just sitting there, like the fucking doors open. More than 700,000 Palestinians were driven out of their homes or fled in the fighting in the 1947-49 war, which also is the Nakba, known as the Nakba. It's not just the 1947-1949 war, but instead it is quite literally just ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, 700,000 of them from their ancestral lands, never to be allowed to return. Rogen and Maron, who is also Jewish, were speaking to promote Rogen's new comedy, An American Pickle, which tells the story of a Jewish immigrant from the 1920s who falls into a vat of brine and wakes up in modern-day Brooklyn. The pair talked and joked at length about Israel and also spoke about anti-Semitism, which Rogen said remains pervasive and prevalent. I remember my dad frankly telling me, people hate Jews, just be aware of that. They just do. And it's honestly something that I'm so glad was instilled in me in a young age, because if it wasn't, I would constantly be shocked at how much motherfuckers hate Jews. Zionists have pointed at the Holocaust for centuries of bloody anti-Semitism as evidence that the Jews will never be safe without a state. Rogen, however, argued you don't keep something you're trying to preserve all in one place. Asked if he would ever go live in Israel, Rogan said no. Marin replied, I'm the same way, and we're going to piss off a bunch of Jews. By the way, in my conversation with Steiny, one of the funniest things he said that he actually omitted from it, which actually, you know what? I'm not even going to say it. Steiny said something that I think organically, that I think is like kind of funny about Israel and Israelis. I'm not going to repeat it, but he he deleted that part of our back and forth where we talked extensively about Israel. But it just doesn't. It's not a gamer moment. It's more so. It doesn't do it justice. Like me repeating it doesn't do it justice, because in the moment when he said it, because it's kind of problematic, but not in the direction that you would think it is. He didn't say something like anti-Semitic. He said something that's like anti-Arab. But the reason why I'm not repeating it is because but it was funny in that moment when I heard it from the perspective of like someone who is from the perspective of someone who I suspected was like definitely. Oh, he just said like, because when they went to Israel, he was like, I mean, it's not that. From the perspective of like someone who is an American Jew, it was kind of funny to hear that, where he was like, yeah, they're Arabs. That's what he said. Never gonna tell you any secrets. I mean, it's not. I don't think it was like a bad thing. I thought it was instructive about the perspective from the perspective of Israel, from like a dude who doesn't really think about this stuff that much. You know what I mean? And also, he's right. It's just that Israelis would get very mad at that. Anyway, most recently, Peter Barnard, prominent Jewish American political commentator, was both derided and lauded for commentaries in which he questioned whether he could remain both a liberal and also support the Jewish state while millions of Palestinians continue to be denied basic rights. This was all the way back in 2020, by the way. But yeah, Seth Rogen has been on the fuck Israel tip for a minute. Let's get back to EFAT, Lo now.
Then creeping anti-Semitism in progressive and social justice movements. I'm asking you to recognize how it went from that to very shortly, in a few years later, having a band be accepted to play at Coachella, and by the way, this summer, all over Europe at mainstream festivals, including...
It's time to stop. Kneecap, it's time to stop. Why is it that there's just only one method? If someone is pro-Israel, they got one move, okay? Expert move. Call the fucking manager, get this person fired. It is so crazy. Deplatform. Fire this fucker. She has a Glasgow uni accent. They always think they're right. It is fucked up to be Irish and pro-Israel? I know. It makes no fucking sense.
Glastonbury, including Primavera, I'm asking you to consider your position of responsibility as a leader, either as a Jew or as a non-Jew who believes in protecting civilization against terrorism. I am asking you to use your...
No, I know she's Scottish. I'm responding to the... I would never. No. We know she's Scottish, chatters. What the fuck? No, that other chatter was talking about, like, isn't it fucked up to be pro, like, in general? The chatter was making a general statement about Irish people and their support for Palestine. She's Scottish. My 2-year-old just laughed at you doing that accent. Keep doing the accent. Oh, don't worry. You are the terrorist, you genocidal scum. I can't tell if the shadow's talking about me or Eve Shadlow.
Responsibility to stop being selfish, to stop being afraid, to use your position of power to say absolutely not. I will not accept promotion of messages that endorse terrorism, that endorse what happened to over 350 innocent civilians at the Nova Music Festival in the south of Israel on October 7th, where they were gang raped and butchered by terrorists. Absolutely not. We are performing arts festivals. We are music festivals. We are places of peace.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Only fucking pro-Israeli messaging allowed at festivals. Only pro-Israel messages on festivals. Right? Talk about the genocide, but as a good thing. Say it's good that Palestinian children are being murdered.
And tolerance and unity and togetherness, and we do not condone violence.
What do you mean we? Does she even still have a career? Yeah. Are you okay? Music has never been used to send a message, ever. Never political. Yeah. I'll have you know, Israel invented the concept of a music festival. Another gift that Israel gave the world, alongside carne asada tacos and doner and punk rock. Israel invented Ireland too. How dare ye? And Hamas. I meant Hamas.
Violence, terrorism, sexual assault, and murder. I am asking you, I am demanding you to take a stand now and use your position of power.
Yeah, please take a stand now and fire everyone you can. After all, if we can't assassinate them with drone strikes, then we must assassinate their careers in the Western world for the crime of speaking out against the genocide.
Because this is what's happened in 6 years. You've gone from having a music journalist exiled from the industry to having Coachella, one of the biggest music festivals in the world, mainstream anti-Semitism and also mainstream terrorism. In this very short space of time.
Yeah. Yeah. E. Fartlow is awesome because she's like, when I got fired, okay, which I don't even know if she got fired. I think people are just like, yeah, we don't want you writing for us anymore because your writing is mid and you suck. Okay. She is just like, if you have an opinion on live streamed child Holocaust, okay, which is what Israel is doing, if you have a negative opinion on that, you should literally be fired. You should never be able to have a job ever again. The main argument here, okay? Oh, I'm sorry. You don't appreciate that we are doing a Holocaust of children in real time, live streaming it, and you look at that and you think, wow, that's seemingly unconscionable. I think that's really fucked up. Fuck the country doing that. Then you should be fired. And it's crazy because, like, she's also talking about, like, people not wanting her to write for, I don't know, Stereo Gum as the first shot across the bow. This is, you know, this spelled real trouble. No, it's not. It's not like you being a annoying person to be around and people not wanting to read your dog shit writing does not spell anti-Semitism. Okay? It's ridiculous. There's anti-Semitism, and then there's people being like, yeah, I don't want to hear from you. Like, those are two separate things. How wonderful. How cool. How awesome. Yeah, how is this any different than Kevin Sorbo? Exactly. Kevin Sorbo claiming he can't get work because he's a Christian. No, or Michael Rappaport did this too. Michael Rappaport had the audacity to come out and be like, I can't get any jobs in Hollywood because I'm a Jew who's outspoken about Israel. Brother. Really? That's what really? I mean, come on, dude. Come on. The joke's right for the jokes right themselves. Yeah. Today, that Seth Rogen tweeted farts at me. It was my hate name that trended nationwide on Twitter, not his. I was the butt of the expertly constructed joke by a man with decades experience as a celebrated Hollywood asset. A fat emoji. I mean fat lo. And calling me by my hate name made me the shite of the butt. Don't use a hate name, Hasan. Please, no, Hasan. Please, fuck shite. Joe Rogan is an ape who behaves like a primate in response to Douglas Murray, who has evolved by thousands of years. She also thinks Muslim Brotherhood controls every institution, every major institution, just anti-Semitism with a new coat of paint. Yeah. It is pretty funny where it is pretty funny that these guys are basically fucking doing the parasitic nature of the Islamic mind must be wiped out. Like literally just like dehumanization and propaganda that justified the Holocaust in the minds of many German people being relitigated, but this time instead of Jew, they substituted Jewish people and the false smears against Jewish people for Arabs and Muslims. Protocols of the Elders of Ramallah. And it's so it's wild because like the more this shit happens, the more people feel resentful towards Israel. And it doesn't just stay at resentment towards Israel. This does unironically have a negative effect because Israel constantly being like, we're the Jewish nation state. We're doing this for Judaism. If you hate our live stream baby murder, then you must hate all Jews across the board. The more you do that, the more people go, okay, well, I guess this is Jews doing this. Like, how is the expectation from some fucking random dude who already has like encountered or has like nascent underlying anti-Semitic tendencies, like, yeah, Jews are in Hollywood, I don't know, whatever. How is that guy going to watch TV and TikTok at the same time, see all the fucking baby murder happening, and then on television or on Twitter, the fucking White House is literally blackbagging people because they said mean words about Israel, words that they might even agree with, okay? And then the White House is posting, Shalom, Shalom Mahmoud, we're blackbagging you. How is that person not supposed to think Jews control the media and every fucking aspect of the federal government? Like, these people do not think complex thoughts. So the more you fucking associate Israel with Judaism and the more you fucking keep saying that you're doing this to combat anti-Semitism, the more anti-Semitism is going to happen. The more it becomes, in the minds of everyday Americans, the only way to protest Israel is by being anti-Semitic. It's wrong, of course. Just like the conflation of Judaism and Israel is wrong. There will come a day when a lot of people who are in your families, okay, for all the Jewish HasanAbi heads in here, all the anti-Zionist HasanAbi heads in here, you will see your parents will actively be speaking in the ways that I'm speaking right now about Israel and try to desperately stop people from associating Judaism with Israel. It will inevitably happen. And I fear that it will happen when it's far too late at that point. And I hope it doesn't get to that point. But you'll see. That's the point. They're trying to increase global anti-Semitism. I know, but it's so short-sighted and it's so fucking stupid. E. Fartlow's whole mindset that Israel and therefore all Jews are under attack by the powers that be makes no sense. Every Western power aligns with her views. Like, why does she feel like a victim? She has the military-industrial complex on her side. Why would they want to increase anti-Semitism? Why would Israel want to increase anti-Semitism? I don't know. Ask the Mossad why they fucking bombed synagogues in Iraq to create, to heighten the tensions in Iraq for the Iraqi Jews. Because when anti-Semitism increases in the West, Israel sees that as a complementary tool to its Zionist project, to its Zionist ambition of bringing either all Jews to Israel or at least make Jews in the Western world that are outside of Israel, Jews in diaspora, because it gives additional credence to the argument. It gives additional credence to the argument that no Jew is ever safe if there is no Jewish state. That is the underpinning of the Zionist project in general. That's it. And while there is no historic, it's kind of like this, okay? Imagine if white Christian colonists constantly ran on the argument that they're always under attack, nonstop, from every angle, and they have to be violent, and they have to do a genocide on the indigenous population. There were arguments like that being presented at the time, but like there has never been a point throughout history where white Western nations have ever been, or especially on the basis of Christianity, they've ever been like truly under attack. So when you say something like that, most people laugh at you. Like when Kevin Sorbo says like, because I'm a white Christian man, I'm being oppressed in Hollywood or whatever, right? Like there is no real historic wrong you can attach to that kind of sentiment. That's why people desperately will try to grab on to like apartheid South Africa and how there's a white genocide happening in South Africa or whatever, right? Like, but there is a real historic wrong that has been committed over and over again against Jews, which is why this argument goes a much longer way. The argument of anti-Semitism goes a much longer way because anti-Semitism is a real bigotry, as opposed to just like anti-white Christian men bigotry. That's not fucking real. That's not a real bigotry at all. That's what's so different about. And that's what's so different about the way to defend Israel in the Western world by talking about the way to defend Israel by talking about anti-Semitism in general, because anti-Semitism is a real bigotry. And it is associated with real historic wrongs and historic violence that Jews were subjected to. Speaking of repressed white men, did you see what happened to your favorite comedian? Yeah. Can you expand on that Iraq claim you made? Yes. Iraqi Jewish historian Avi Shlaim has detailed out Mossad operations around the Nakba, or in the aftermath of the Nakba, where Israel wanted more immigration from the MENA region into Israel, of Jews into Israel. And a part of that plan also featured creating an environment of instability and creating a environment of danger for Jews in places like Iraq. They did so by bombing synagogues in Iraq to be like, see, the Iraqis are so anti-Semitic, they want to kill you. You have to come to Israel. And it worked. Ironically enough, the Iraqi Jews and all of the Arab Jews that came into Israel initially were fucking brutalized by the Israeli state to begin with. That's the other side of the story. Here, this is Avi Shlaim.
Lebanon.
Here.
Before the emergence of the State of Israel in 1948, there was a large number of Jews living in the Arab world, something like 800,000, and there were Jews in...
One must ask the question, why? Part of that is also because, you know, Jews have historically lived in that region. The other reason why there was a lot of Jews living in that region was because plenty of them migrated, escaping pogroms under Christian rulership in Europe, and came under the protectorate of the Ottoman Empire, because the Ottoman Empire was a safe haven for Jews.
Lebanon, in Syria, in Egypt, and Iraq. The Jewish community in Iraq was the most ancient, going back to 2.5 millennia ago. It was the most prosperous, the most successful, and the best integrated into local society. But before 48, there were Jews throughout the Arab world, and Muslim-Jewish coexistence was not a distant dream. It was everyday reality. The Jews and Arabs lived side by side.
Why do you hate Jews, bro? Come on.
Until the arrival of Zionism, my family and I, we were Arab Jews. We spoke Arabic at home. We didn't speak any other language. Our culture was Arab culture. Our food was the most delicious, spicy, Middle Eastern.
Yeah, this guy must hate Jews too, I assume.
It wasn't European food. So in every sense of the word, we were Arab Jews. We Arab Jews had much more in common, linguistically and culturally, with non-Jews around us. We had much more in common with them than we had with Jews in Eastern Europe. In March 1950, the Iraqi parliament passed a law which said any Jew who wants to leave the country is free to do so. They have a year to register to leave on a one-way visa. And not many Jews registered to leave. And in the next year, 5 bombs exploded in Jewish premises in Baghdad, and that created a panic, and that helped to precipitate the exodus to Israel. Yosef Basri, 28-year-old lawyer and an ardent Zionist, and he was responsible for 3 out of the 5 bombs. The controller of Basri was an Israeli intelligence officer called Max Binet. He gave
420 blaze it, by the way. 420 on 420, blaze it.
in the orders, he gave him the TNT in 1950.
It's the marijuana time on the marijuana day. Oh my God, for East Coast.
There were 135,000 Jews in Iraq. By the end of 1952, there were only about 10,000 Jews left in Iraq, and 125,000 Jews ended up in Israel. We left Iraq as Jews, and we arrived in Israel as Iraqis. But the problem is that Israel claims to be the state of the Jews. Israel claims to speak on behalf of all Jews everywhere. Zionism is an Ashkenazi thing. It's nothing to do with us.
Yeah. My husband is a Sunni Muslim and I'm Ashkenazi Jew, and he was telling me about the Jewish synagogues in and around downtown Beirut, and I didn't understand why they would be there until I read From Beirut to Jerusalem by Thomas L. Friedman. Wait, Thomas Friedman? Well, Thomas Friedman is woke now, so it's fine. He's woke now. Anyway, my dad would tell me stories about how little conflicts there were with not only Jews and Muslims, but even the Shia and Sunnis in our country, to the point that they would even bury people of different religions together and everything, when now even Sunnis and Shias have different burial grounds and rituals. Who is this dude? This is a very famous Israeli new historian by the name of Avi Shalem. He has written many books about Israeli history. The reason why he's known as a new historian, he's part of the new historians, is because him, Ilan Pape, and fucking Benny Morris, who is not as great, uncovered a bunch of hidden aspects of the inception of the Israeli state. The reason why I say Benny Morris is a little bit different is because while these guys all played a major role in showing how Israel had written its own history, Benny Morris recognizes the Nakba as a planned ethnic cleansing campaign, but thinks it's good and it had to happen, whereas Avi and Ilan Pape think it's unconscionable. Avi Shalem has written The Iron Wall, Israel and the Arab World, and numerous other books. Out of the new historians, Benny Morris is what happened about Israeli history, and then say, and it's awesome, versus these two guys looked at that and were like, this is genocide. This is really fucked up. What did Norm say? Benny's historical facts are 100%, but his conclusions are insane. Yes, his conclusions are evil. That's not even true. Morris said he disliked Ben-Gurion because he did not go full on and finish the job. Yeah, new historians. They got access to documents from the founding of the state that were previously kept hidden. Yeah. Sit with this fact. There are more Arabs living in Tel Aviv than there are Jews in the entire Middle East. That's part of the reason why I was very mad at Ethan in the when he did the context puke, and in it made a ridiculous claim that more Jews were ethnically displaced during the Nakba, which he called a war, than Palestinians that were displaced from their ancestral homelands. 750,000 versus 1 million plus. The comparison is ridiculous. The comparison is ridiculous because one is a planned exterminationist ethnic displacement campaign. The other is voluntary migration, primarily, sometimes egged on by the Israeli state, like in the case of Iraq. It's a very sneaky way to make this incredibly disingenuous claim that is akin to genocide revisionism, genocide denial. Benny's the author of the quotes, Ben-Gurion should have ethnically cleansed all Palestinians in 1948, not half of them. And if 10 million Iranians die when Israel nukes Iran, they would deserve it for having made the revolution of 1979. Yeah. Benny Morris signed a petition calling the situation in the West Bank apartheid and recently wrote in Haaretz that Israel's on the cusp of committing a genocide, but not yet. Oh my God, even Benny Morris is becoming woke? Wait, what the fuck? That's crazy. Here's another stat. There are about as many indigenous people in America as Jews, and yet indigenous issues do not get nearly the attention that Israel gets. That's how you know American support has little to do with actually caring about Judaism or fighting anti-Semitism and everything to do with colonialism. Yes.
We're often told
how Israel became a fascist state. Aaron Bastani meets Ilan Pappé. Oh, this just came out. Yeah, Ilan Pappé is the GOAT of this. His book 10 Myths is like great. I mean, 10 Myths is probably what I would point to as like a must read in terms of anti-Zionist thought, in terms of understanding the dynamic, in terms of understanding the propaganda and the lies being told at the behest of Israel. It is, I think, it's a fairly easy read, and I highly, highly recommend it. It's a great introduction. It's a great starting point. Have you finished the E-Fat little clip yet? I think so. Yeah, I did. Oh, wow, I didn't.
That's where it's gone. Do you want to see how it's going to evolve further? Do you want to take that risk? Do you want your kids going to these music festivals and God forbid something like what happened to the kids at Nova happens to them? Where do you think this leads? Use your position of responsibility now. It's over to you.
Yeah, Kneecap.
Stop being selfish, self-invested coward.
Yeah, if there's someone who is a selfish, self-invested coward, it is the person that said, the anti-Semitic pogrom started when they fired me from my job writing for Stereo Gum or whatever. That's when the pogrom started. Did she just threaten to kill people at a music festival? No, she's saying, I mean, that's funny. No, she's basically saying that every music festival will turn into a Nova festival if you allow people to say fuck Israel at festivals. That's the argument that she's trying to make here, which is so psychotic. Also, I can't see what this account said, which is weird. How the fuck? Wait, I thought blocked accounts I could still see, but I don't know what happened. New TikTok drop. That was sick. She's ironically accelerated in the very outcome she professes to fight against. Lol, I know. People who actively and desperately try to defend Israel by packaging this under any attack against Israel is an attack against all Jews, ironically enough, plays a role in calcifying anti-Semitic tendencies that people have. It's the word. If you care about anti-Semitism, as I do, okay, you should be using every waking moment to separate Israel from Judaism. Because not only is that the truth, okay, but it's also a weird false association. It's like if, and I've said this before, it's like saying Israel represents all Jews. If you hate Israel, you hate all Jews, you're anti-Semitic, is like if I and other Muslims living in the Western world were constantly talking about how ISIS represents Islam. It's true Islam. And if you hate ISIS and you say ISIS is doing horrible things, then you hate Muslims. You're Islamophobic. Like, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. It is wild to make this voluntary association. Hasan on stage at Coachella? Yeah. Ridiculous stuff. I don't understand the motivations for Zionism. Is there a profit incentive or something? Why go through all that trouble to create an ethno-state? What do you mean? It's like saying, what is the motivation for settler colonialism in the United States? Why do settler colonialism is funny from a materialist perspective. Read my logs about the numbers showing before and after the Nakba. My mom's family originally Tunisian Mizrahi Jews, but during the 40s, half of the tribe converted to Islam, but in the government documents, they were still assigned as Jews as a religion for the simple fact that during French colonial time, the government was unreliable. So the before and after the Nakba numbers showing the number of Jews is also unreliable because not all went to Israel. Many were already Muslims, but the government still had the old religion assigned to them. Oh shit, I did not know that. That's crazy. Kind of reminds me of how bad faith people say supporting the people of Palestine makes you a Hamas supporter. I don't even think that's necessarily the bad faith association there is because of all of the baggage associated with Hamas in general. Like, of course, I support the Palestinian emancipation, the Palestinian emancipatory movement. Palestinians, and I've said this time and time again, like post October 7, Palestinians have a right to defend themselves under international law. So everything that Hamas or Al-Qassam or Palestinian Islamic Jihad, the things that they've done in the process of defending the Gaza Strip from an incursion by a belligerent occupier such as Israel is not only valid, but also moral. It's just, and it is perfectly legal. It is perfectly legal under international law. It is so shocking to me that people just refuse to reckon with this basic fact, just as the Jenin brigades and numerous other militancies that form in the West Bank are literally legal. Okay, they are legal. They are legally defending their own land, their own territory from the illegal occupation, the Israeli occupation. This is not a matter that is up for interpretation or debate. It's just the truth. It is not only moral, but it is also legal under international law. But it doesn't fucking matter, because when America's ally is engaging in this erroneous and ultimately very violent engagement that completely destroys any semblance of international law, no one says anything. No one can say anything about it. You know, you just can't. Are you including October 7 in this statement? No, of course, October 7 is not. No, the actions taken on October 7 is a violation of international law. That's ridiculous. It is an understandable logical endpoint for a people that have been constantly dominated and destroyed by this belligerent occupier. But having said that, of course, it is not considered justifiable under international law. That's ridiculous. The dynamic there of a militancy group that is born out of the constant struggle and the constant pain and the constant violence that they're subjected to by the most powerful entity in the region, that is backed by the most powerful entity on the planet, doing all of this and leading people to a sense of desperation where they do a final act of violence that is even a fraction of the violence that they've been subjected to over the course of 75 years of occupation and apartheid. Having said that, it's still, of course, not legal under international law. But that said, since October 7, that this violence that took place on October 7 is directly in the hands of Israel. Okay? It is directly in the hands of Israel. The fuck? Like, this chatter says, return the hostages. Ironically enough, I don't think this chatter is talking about the tens of thousands of Palestinians that are held hostage in Israeli facilities, ripped away from their homes, ripped away at military checkpoints that are illegal, that shouldn't even be there, by Israeli occupying force soldiers that are illegally occupying the West Bank. You know what I mean? It's only one-sided, because so much of this argument basically revolves around one fundamental principle. Arabs, Palestinians as a whole, are not human, okay? Because if you recognize, see, you reap what you sow, Hasan. Yeah, okay, well, I'm not the one fucking constantly crying that people are being mean to my apartheid state that's doing a genocide, okay? Everyone around the world knows the depraved nature of Israel. Everyone. It's only a matter of time until people say enough is enough, okay? True? What the fuck kind of take is this? What do you mean? That was the quickest conversion I've ever engaged in. Yeah. Israel didn't sign on to Protocol 1 of the Geneva Conventions, which says that international human law applies to spontaneous militia groups who resist against colonial occupation or racist regimes. Israel said Protocol 1 could be seen as promoting terrorism, which shows you that they just label anti-colonial resistance as terrorism, giving the rhetorical game away. And the only reason why we see it as such is because the American media also sees it that way. Because what America is doing is also identical to what Israel has done in this past year and continues to do. Yeah. You reap what you sow is really funny when 53% of Americans now have an unfavorable opinion of Israel. 53% of Americans, in spite of the in spite of all of the promotion, in spite of all of the news coverage that rarely ever speaks the truth about what Israel is doing. There's never a mention of Palestinians that are being held hostage by the Israeli state as hostages. They're prisoners. The only people who are hostages, the only people who are human, are Israeli citizens that were kept as hostages. Even going so far as to write articles about how, like, a poor Israeli boy was kidnapped from a Merkava tank. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Kidnapped from a tank? What do you mean? That's a soldier. That's a prisoner of war, dumbass. The fuck do you mean kidnapped from a tank? He was operating a goddamn tank. The fuck? This poor teenager rear brigadier admiral general was kidnapped from a tank. So America was founded by terrorists? Got it? Yes. Yes. The fuck do you think the Revolutionary War was? What are you talking about? Yes. What, you think the fucking British monarchy at the time didn't consider the American Revolution an act of terror? Yeah, no shit, dumbass. Of course. The fuck? Yes, the Boston Tea Party and all the subsequent acts are definitionally considered by whatever a state enterprise looked like at the time, which would be the British monarchy, is, yes, a fucking act of terror by terrorists. Yes. Anyway, what is this? Oh, God, I don't care about E-Fat-Lo. I'm done with E-Fat-Lo. I'm done with E-Fat-Lo. Jewish groups in the music space made the owners of Coachella Golden Voice aware the Irish band Kneecap was deeply anti-Semitic and promoted Hezbollah terrorists. What did Golden Voice do? Nothing. The result, the vilification of the world's only Jewish state last night as thousands cheered on. Emails, Paul Tollett, CEO and President, Jay Marciano, and ask, why did Melissa Armand, the COO of festivals at AEG Presents and COO of Golden Voice, allow this to happen? At 2024 concert, Kneecap waved Hezbollah flags on stage. Dude, I'm telling you, you know the boys are fucking loving this. I mean, I'm loving it too. This gets me super hype whenever Stop Anti-Semites or Stop Anti-Semitism fucking chirps up about me. It's awesome. Please, I cannot hear about another email campaign. I'm gonna lose my mind, brother. Yeah, also, it's so fucking funny. I'm sorry, but it is straight up hilarious that you're like, I can't believe Kneecap, a band that does this all the time, did the thing that they are known to do. Wow, I'm shocked. What's next? Are you going to tell me they rapped in Irish? Wow. Anyway, now